do 20% of the men get access to all the women, while the bottom 80% get the leftovers. That's what they say in the manosphere, and I think that's based on some of the internal data from Twitter and so on, and from people who have made profiles on Bumble and Twitter using different kinds of photographs to see what kind of results they're getting. And it seems that 70% of the profiles on Tinder are men, and they're swiping on almost every woman because they see something pretty and they want to smash. Or so it goes. And that the women are just more selective and they're just picking the most attractive men, and those are the men getting laid. My experience on the online dating apps is not that simple. What it turns out is that the majority of people on there, I think, are fake profiles or scammers or people who are just looking for some validation. Few of the people actually meet. I have heard other stats that you have to spend 6 hours online for one coffee date. And I've had other people telling me that the people either are just like being very crude, like people with low social skills are on there, or that they don't want to meet. I have I've had my share of time on dating apps. I've met 100 or 150 men off dating apps, and when I first got on them after my divorce in 2013, I did meet quite a few men off the dating apps. I said I was looking for sex. I met these young men for coffee, and they were all very nice, and had a lot of courage. I was impressed with their courage to meet with me. But when I went on it again in 2021 in the spring, I did not have as much luck. Perhaps people were afraid of the thing. I don't want to use the word because I don't want to be demonetized, because I have opinions about it and I don't know if they were that, or if just people are more busy. I just don't think there's all this fucking going on. That's what I want to tell you. I do not think that these top 20%, I do not think that there's a group of elite looking men. They're gorgeous and they have money and they have social status and all the women are fucking them. I don't think that happens. I don't think so. On the online dating apps, women may swipe on those guys, but they're not necessarily meeting them. And the men may not necessarily want to meet them. A lot of these guys that are on there are married or in relationships, or they're busy with work and they just want the social validation. Or maybe they just didn't pick me because I'm not hot enough even to fuck. But I'm pretty hot for a MILF. I'm a pretty hot MILF. I'm not saying a guy my age would want to date me. I'm not saying they would want to date me, but I'm pretty hot MILF for fucking. I'm going to say that. So if they didn't want to meet with me, I take it as that they were not horny enough or that they really didn't want to meet. I did have some men that were even too nervous to do a video call. Some people struggled with the video call. They were uncomfortable with it. I think what's happening in our society is that there are fewer and fewer social interactions and fewer people actually wanting to meet and people losing their social skills. That's what I think. And I don't think that there's as much sex going on as people imagine other people are having. I think there's less and less sex happening. A lot of these guys are tired. I remember years ago when I was hooking up with Marines, sometimes I'd be like, I'm too tired to come over. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. People work so much and they're not prioritizing their relationships. Another thing is that some of these very eligible men are not, okay, the idea is these very eligible top 20% are so hot, all the women want them, so they don't want a relationship. They just go around smashing, raising the body count of all these other women, raising the body count of women because they can. Women just want them, and women might think, oh, maybe he'll like me, maybe he'll give me a relationship, but he doesn't. Okay, so there are a lot of men that I consider that I would date that I would have dated when I was younger. Let's take these young Marine officers. They will, they're very relationship oriented. Yes, they want sex. They want a relationship though. Some of them, I would talk to them. We would have sex and they would tell me about this woman who broke their heart, or the woman they were pining after back home, or the woman they were in love with, they wanted to date. And then if you follow them a year or two later on Facebook, they're in a relationship or they're married. And I consider these guys very eligible. These young Marine officers, they're pretty good at selecting in the Marine Corps for guys. Also, my sons. I consider my sons in the top 20%, whatever you define that. They're good looking, they're kind, they're intelligent, they're very successful in their careers, and they're in a relationship. They've always been in a relationship. And where I live, there's single men where I live. I see them walking their dogs. I don't see them coming home with a babe. I go out to a bar and I don't see men leaving the bar with other women. Like, I just don't see this. I just don't see that there are these guys going out fucking these women. I think that's I think it's a fantasy. But correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I will tell you this. Even when I was online looking for casual sex, I had a hard time getting it. And you think that women have an easier time getting sex. Now, again, I consider myself, very attractive for a guy who wants to get with a mature woman. And a lot of guys want to hook up with a sexy, mature woman. And I have a good body. So definitely I might have a low relationship value, but I have a high sexual value. I'm pretty sure of that. And I had a really hard time finding guys to fuck me. Now you might say I'm too choosy, but I was looking in the top 30% or so. I was looking in the top percent. Now you might say I'm not hot enough for the guys in the top 20%. And maybe I'm not. But even so, when I'm out at a bar, I don't have guys coming up to me trying to buy me a drink or trying to fuck me. They're just standing around. I remember being at the Belly Up a few months back, and I went up to 3 men and asked them to dance. And they all said no. None of them asked for my number. None of them asked if they could take me home. Not that I would have gone. I think it's a myth that there's this group of men getting all the sex. I think it's a myth. I think and another thing is, okay, who are these women fucking? Which men are getting all the sex? I think there's a lot of hooking up going on in college, but outside of college, I don't know who's hooking up and where they're meeting the guys to hook up with. Maybe at a bar, maybe they're having drunk sex. I don't understand, because my hookups came all by meeting these guys online for coffee. I don't know any other way to get sex. That's just how I did it. Twice I picked a guy up from a bar and it was very bad. I was just trying to experiment. This was before I knew that it wouldn't be very satisfying. And when you say the top 20%, I don't know what you mean. Just because women swiped on someone, that just means she found him attractive on paper. But see, in real life, for a woman to have sex with someone, and I'm going to ignore the stories of the woman who met a guy on Tinder and drove over there while she was drunk and wanted to be choked till she almost passed out because she's coming from trauma in her trauma sexual way. I'm going to ignore those outlier stories. For a woman to want to have sex with a man, she takes in a lot of things about him beyond just how he looks on a photograph. She wants to know, she needs to feel emotionally receptive to him and like him in some way. And even though the woman might meet the guy from Tinder, she may not even have sex with him. And if these guys, I will tell you one thing, the top guys who get women easily, they're not online. or if they are online, they're not getting their chicks online, because the guys who get sex have an easy way of talking to women. They're just easy to talk to, and they're not always good looking. I've met men in my appointments who were a little bit chubby, and I'm like, you can get girls. Why are you here? And they have a reason they're here. They're either married or they don't want to put the effort in, because it takes effort to get a girl. You can't just, you gotta be on your game. You have to put some effort in a conversation, in meeting her and making sure she likes you. You gotta be on your game. And that takes effort and it takes time and it might take money. And then another thing that happens, well, first of all, let me go back to this. Some of these men are chubby, but what they have is they have confidence and they have a relational ability. Like they have a warmth when they talk to me. They're just good talking to women. And it's not about how they look, and they're usually in sales. I would say that guys who are in sales or any kind of job where you're interacting with the public, or if you enjoy being being in an attention place, like say you're a musician or you're a waiter or you're a, you know, something where you're interacting with the public and you're confident and you like talking to women, it'll be easier for you to get women. It's not about how tall you are and how good you look in a photograph. The other thing that happens with men is that, okay, a lot of people will go, oh yeah, they reach their maximum value in their 30s, and that's when they can smash all they want and they'll smash the younger girls. Only a fucking psychopath does that. Because my experience in talking to men, and I've met, my forte is younger men, so I don't know anything that happens after 30 really very much. But these younger guys, as soon as they turn 30, they kind of start to feel a little bit more responsible, a little bit more mature. And they will say things like, I don't want to hook up anymore because I understand that women get their feelings hurt and I don't want to hurt women. Because they start to realize that women get more emotional, more attached. Where's this going? Why didn't you text me? There could be some drama. And they don't want to deal with that. So they don't hook up. That's my experience with men. There was a super hot guy that I wanted to hook up with. He was actually 40 at the time. And he told me, he goes, I'm not going to hook up with you because I know you want a relationship and I don't want to hurt women's feelings. And that he wasn't the only one who's told me that. That's another reason men will come to see me. They want to have an older woman, and older women are hard to get. That's another reason. Here, I'll give you, I know I'm all over the place, but a lot of men, I don't know how many, there's a certain percentage of men that has a fantasy or a preference for sex with a MILF. The MILF porn is like a big thing. It might not be your thing, but it is a category, and a lot of men just want to fuck us. And usually women don't want to have sex with younger men. It's too close to their son's age, or they just like older men, or they think younger men are too immature. So these young guys, when I get a young guy in an appointment, it's because he wants an experience with an older woman, and he can't find an older woman. He can find younger women easily because he's got the good social skills, but he can't find an older woman. And maybe he's not on the dating app, but again, on the dating app, for those guys, they're just passing me up. So I think that men who just go around smashing, they have to, once they get outside of college, it's not that easy. When you're in college, you can go to a lot of parties. They get drunk, they have a lot of sex. That's where a lot of rapes happen too. I heard today on the radio at USC, they're going to start having security guards at the parties and at the stairways to cut down on the rape that's happening. So the sex happening in college is often not really, it's drunk based. But outside of college, I'm not sure how much sex these men are getting and where they're meeting these women, because you have to be somewhere where you meet women. So you're going to have to go out. You can't get too drunk because you still have to be able to get hard and have a reasonable conversation and impress the woman enough to want to fuck you. And once you're working, you don't want to fuck women you're working with. That's not very good. Or the women at church or the women at your gym. So I don't know where all these men get this access to women. If there's a world where 20% of men are banging all these women, I don't know women who go around banging. Even my daughter, who's 30, none of her friends are bangers. And I don't know men who are banging and bringing chicks home. I think it's a fucking myth. I do not think this world exists. And the men that do go around just banging, I think they're fucking psychopaths. I think that they're psychopaths because if they will realize very quickly that women get their feelings involved, and they will prefer to have a girlfriend because it's in our nature to want to be relational. So if a man just goes around fucking, then I think he's more of a psychopath. But now there is a theory, I've heard it said, that if a guy is so hot and he has access to so many women, he'll go for it. But then we hear of celebrities now, this could be all lies, Michael Douglas, and it was a Kobe Bryant, like they have access to all these women that they just chose, no, I don't want to cheat on my wife because I know that will hurt her. I'm committed to the relationship. I don't know if that's true. I will say that men who are very successful will be desired by a lot of women, right? Just for their success. Not a woman like me, but other types of women will like that. And it will be harder for them to resist the urge to not cheat because they have so much opportunity, right? However, they're still married. Even the guys that cheat, because they can get so many women, they're still in a relationship, so they're cheating. So maybe all these women who are hooking up are having sex with married men, because I think that we're drawn to men who are relational. I think men who are relational are extremely attractive, and that's the kind I would look for when I was hooking up. I looked for men who were relational, who were alpha and tender. So I would look for guys who had pictures of themselves outdoors, pictures of themselves with a dog, pictures maybe with their friends, with their clothes on. If their clothes were off or they were all like showing off their body, those were turnoffs to me. I'm just throwing out a whole bunch of stuff out there. I will tell you that it's not that easy to get sex. I mean, even for me, it's really not that easy. I mean, maybe I'm too picky, but I just don't see it. And even though men want sex, I don't think that they necessarily looking for it from a variety of women. So my ex-husband explained it to me later on in our marriage, and I didn't know men feel this way. He's like, I go around thinking I could fuck her and her and her and her. I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't know men thought that. But even though he said that, he didn't cheat on me at all during the 10 years I wasn't fucking him. You want to know why I wasn't fucking him? It's because he was cold and shut off and withdrawn from me and gave me really bad sex. So I stopped wanting it. Could make a video on why your wife doesn't want to fuck you. As a side note, she's probably ignored, unappreciated, or mad at you because you have no boundaries and you're a pushover, or you're a bully or walled off. But even that, he didn't cheat on me. So just because men have a high libido and want to fuck a lot of women, they're not going around doing it. I doubt my sons are cheating on their girlfriends or wives. I doubt that. I doubt my ex-husband is cheating on his wife now. He didn't cheat on me. Just because they have a high libido doesn't mean that they act on it. Just because I like cake doesn't mean I eat it. Just because women like shoes doesn't mean they go into Nordstrom and steal the shoes. People don't act on their impulses. People realize that there are consequences to their actions. And once men go around just fucking for a little bit, they realize it's not really that much fun. It's an empty feeling. You wake up and you're like, what did I do? And now I'm stuck with this girl. So I really don't think it's happening. But hey, I'm willing to be proven wrong. Thank you for watching my video. I should call this, who's doing all the fucking? That's probably what I should call it. Are the top, who's doing all the fucking? Is it the top 20% of men? Are the top 20% of men really doing all the fucking? I don't think anyone is doing that much, really. I just think people work a lot. They work a lot and they're tired, and they don't necessarily have the energy to put into wooing and courting a woman, which is not that easy. And maybe, and if the guys are going around fucking, and the another thing is that women will always say men never come up to me. Women of all ages. I talk to women. I'm pretty outgoing. I talk to people all the time when I go out, and women will tell me guys don't ever come up to me unless you're like in Brazil or something, or some different countries where they will still do that, but not in San Diego. And I'm probably not in the US. And I watch videos from men who talk about this. And they'll say men don't go up to women anymore because we don't like rejection. They stop working on their fucking courage. So they don't want the rejection. So they just decide to do without, or go on an online dating app and get no results. That's a waste of time, guys. Online dating apps are fucking waste of time. You're much better off using that same time developing your courage to your social skills, and just start talking to people. Just start every day just to say hi to someone. Oh, and that was the other tip that the guy gave on the video, is whenever you have an interaction with someone, say it's a cashier or an Uber driver, add one sentence. So you learn to be conversational, whatever you're thinking. Like you might be wondering how many passengers he had that day. Just say, hey, how many passengers do you usually get? Or the cashier's checking out and you notice your earrings. Hey, those are kind of cute earrings. Just say one more thing, and you just start using that muscle of talking and sharing who you are and expressing yourself. Another easy thing to ask people, and they fucking love it. I'll say to the cashier, not every time, how's your day going? People love that. Or the guy who's bagging my groceries. You know, these people are ignored. People ignore them. So I look at him and I say, thank you. I look him in the eyes. Or you know, when you order food and then they have someone from the kitchen bring out the food, I look the person in the eye and I say, thank you. Just making those little social connections. This is just something I started doing the last few years. I used to treat waitstaff like servants, like nothings. You know, I had to learn to, I've been working on being less entitled, less grandiose, more boundaried. And, you know, I still have other things to work on. But hey, I'm trying, and so can you. All right, that's the end of my video now. Thank you for watching.